All right, Algebra 1, lesson 2.3. So write the title at the top of your notes. 2.3, solving inequalities with multiplication and division. So we're just taking what we did before and just taking it one step forward. We did addition and subtraction. So this is going to be very similar to solving equations. So the directions will be solve and graph. So we'll do a few examples here. Solve and graph. So let's see. Example 1. X over 8 greater than -5. So we're trying to solve, which means we're trying to isolate the x, get the x by itself, get something that describes all possible values of x that would make this true. And to isolate the x, get it by itself, we need to undo division. And multiplication undoes division. Whatever you do to one side, you need to do the other. So you got to multiply both sides by 8. So x is greater than -40. So that's your answer. We're also going to graph it. And, we can make a really simple graph. -40, 0, 40. Now, it's going to be open dot or solid dot. Greater than just means open dot. And greater than, things are bigger to the right. But there's some other tricks too. So you could either draw it like this, nice solid, or you could draw it like that. Also notice that this and this, these arrows both point in the same direction. So this points to the direction that you should be shading. But bigger numbers always to the right. All right, let's do another one. Example 2, -24 greater than or equal to 3x. So if you need to, you can pause the video, rewind it if you need to. Okay, so now we want to get 3 by itself. It's being multiplied by 3, or the x. So we divide by 3. So we get -24 divided by 3 is -8, greater than or equal to x. Now, while this is true, but this isn't the best way to write x. We want x on the left. So we want it on the left when we're done. And you could always flip the two sides. Now, with equations, you can flip the sides. But you see how this arrow is pointing towards the x? It should still be pointing towards the x. So when you flip the two sides, you have to flip the symbol also with it. This will also make sure that trick about which way the shading points to makes sense. So it doesn't work when the x isn't on the left. So this is going to be a solid circle at -8 because it's or equals to. Or equals to means that's an answer. So you have to shade it in. So to the left is where things are smaller, less, but it's also the same direction as that is pointing. Okay. Now, that's fine. That seems pretty easy. But there is one thing that we have to really watch out for. Okay. So when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you have to flip the symbol, the inequality symbol. You have to flip it. Okay? Now, this is a big deal. This is an easy mistake and it totally messes up your answer. So watch out for this. So we'll do a couple examples where we use this. So, example 3. So example 3, we're going to do, let's see, y over negative 3 is less than 2. So to get y by itself, we need to multiply by negative 3. Right? But because we just multiplied both sides by negative, you have to flip the inequality symbol. So it's going to be y is greater than negative 6. And we could check this because like y is greater than negative 6. So like say 0 is greater than negative 6. So if you plug 0 in here, it works. Plug 0 in here, does it still work? 0 is less than 2? It does. The original problem. So if you test something in here and it works, it should also work in the original problem. We're going to sketch it. Negative 6, 0, 6. It's going to be open dot at negative 6 because it's not already equals to. Greater than is to the right number line. Just look at the numbers. Where are the numbers getting bigger? Also, same direction as that arrow. Example 4. Let's see. Negative 7 y less than or equal to negative 35. So if we want to get y by itself, we'd have to undo the multiplication. So we could divide by negative 7. We want to divide by the negative also. Otherwise, there'd be a negative left over there. But we just divided both sides by a negative, so we have to flip the symbol. So y is greater than or equal to positive 5. So negative 5, 0, 5, solid dot, arrow to the right. Or you could do it like that. Either one or the other. Okay, let's do a couple more just to make sure we get the hang of it. Example 5. X over negative 4 is less than or equal to positive 4. So we want to get rid of the division. We're going to multiply by negative 4, both sides. So x is up. I got to flip that symbol. I like to write this. I like to circle and write flip next to it so I don't forget. Is greater than or equal to negative 16. It's a super easy mistake to make to forget to do this. So negative 16, 0, 16, solid dot negative 16, or equals to. Got to fill it in. It's the same as shading the line. You know, when I shade the line to show where our answers are, a solid dot is a shaded dot. Okay, and another one. Example 6. Negative 5m greater than or equal to negative 45. So we want to get the m by itself, isolate the m, solve for m, got to divide by negative 5. We just divided both sides by negative. We have to flip the symbol. Negative 9, 0, 9, solid dot, negative 9. Oh, sorry, solid dot, positive 9. And then arrow to the left. Less than is to the left. Okay, our last example. will be an application example of word problems, which you're going to have on your assignments and quizzes and things like that. So I'm going to write it in a second. I want to go back to this real quick. The mistake is some people get really good at this flipping the symbol thing, but then they start flipping it when they're not supposed to. So just because there's a negative here, just because you see a negative in your work, don't flip just because there is a negative. So just because there's negatives involved in your work doesn't mean to flip it. Okay? Only flip it when you actually multiply or divide both sides by a negative number. Okay? So be careful with that. Okay, application. You earn $9.50 per hour at your summer job. Okay. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of hours you need to work to buy Apple AirPods Pro that cost $247. Okay, so that's the problem. Positive if you need to write down. You're $9.50 an hour at your summer job. That's probably important, right? It's good to kind of just note the things that probably you're going to have to use. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of hours you need to work. Number of hours you need to work. That's what we're trying to find to buy Apple AirPods Pro that cost $247. That's kind of the main stuff right there, right? Now, so we want to put it into words first, like just the basics. Like, this is how much you make an hour, this is how many hours you work, and this is how much money you need. So it's going to be hourly wage times hours worked, right? That's going to tell you how much money you've earned total. Money per hour times number of hours has to be greater than or equal to cost of AirPods. Right? So, I mean, that's kind of like our rough what we're doing. That's our setup. So we need to create a variable for the thing we're looking for. And the thing we're looking for right here is the number of hours worked. So let's actually define that. You need to define it. Let x equal number of hours need to work. Because someone else will use a different letter. They might use it to represent a different thing. So it's good to state it. I mean, you could use H for hours if you want. So hourly wage is $9.50 times number of hours worked is going to be X is greater than or equal to the cost, $247. So we've written our inequality. Now we need to solve it. So we're going to divide both sides by $9.50. And we get X is greater than or equal to 247 divided by 950. It's 26. Now that's fine, but because this is a word problem, because we created a variable that someone else might use a different letter, we need to write it as a sentence. So you need to work 26 hours or more Okay, 26 hours or more. That's your final answer. So, today for our class assignment, we're going to do monitoring progress. These are the problems at the bottom of the page. Starting at page 68, problems 1 through 12 all. Show your work, write the problems down, beginning to end, box your answers. Put this at the top of the assignment, monitoring progress, page 68, 1 to 12 all. And put your name, the date, put your period. Label your homework as if you're turning in class, and I would have to know whose it was just from what was on the paper. And then upload your notes to Google Classroom, upload your monitoring progress work to Google Classroom. That's it.